Hey, YouTube family and podcast family. Welcome to Happy Crappy Hour every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So, today we have a really good topic. It's just something I know just about everybody has suffered from. And I've had a lot of questions on it over the year. And I want to really address it today, talk about it because it's something that could really make you backslide in a huge way. So we don't want that. So, you guys, Happy Crappy Hour is our time to connect and chat, um, catch up on our week, see what we're struggling with, or what we might have questions about. So I'm going to let you guys give you guys a few minutes here or a few seconds to hop on. And in the meantime, I also do want to talk about happies and crappies, and that's what the happy crappy part is about, the happy crappy hour. What went well this week, which is the happy, and we want to continue to do those things, and what didn't go well this week, which are the crappies, and what did we learn from those so that we don't repeat those. So yeah, so if you guys are getting on, I would love to see what your happies or hear about what your happies and crappies are. I will share with you what my happies and crappies were this week. So, sometimes I get my weeks mixed up, but my happy this week was that, we just got a lot of things done. We got a lot of errands taken care of this weekend that had been weighing on my mind. And as you know, when you have too many things stressing you out or piling up on you, it does create stress. So we want to get rid of those things. So that was my happy. I got to tackle some of those things. We, yeah, my crappy though is that it wore me out. I was just exhausted by Monday, and actually I needed Tuesday as well to just recuperate from all the work we did over the weekend. So, I mean, good and bad, right? But I guess the happy out of that is while I was recuperating, allowed myself, I allowed myself to rest. I could have gone out for bike rides and pushed myself, but I didn't. I let myself take a rest. And that's okay. That's really good. I know if some of you are on exercise regimens, you feel like you have to push yourself, have to push yourself. And that's, you want to do that to get into a habit. So that's a good thing. Get into those good habits. But when you run yourself down to the point where you're creating injury or you're just I don't know, your body is telling you no more, no more. It's okay to give yourself a night off, right? It's okay to do that. Pamper yourself. So, John Bailey, good morning, and Mike, good morning. I'm so glad you guys are hopping on. Yeah, today's topic really is about wanting to look back, right? Wanting to check on your ex. Because in your mind's going to be playing tricks on you. It really is. And this is the minefield. Mind field, no, minefield, MINE, that your mind puts you through, because you're going to be inundated or attacked by your own thoughts. Yeah, you are. You're going to be attacked by your own thoughts. So that's why I want to address this. I want to talk about how can we then fight that? How do we fight back what's going on internally, right? What's really going on inside ourselves? I mean, how do we fight that? Because, you know, the urge to look, the curiosity is so natural. It's so normal because you want to, you have all these doubts. You questioned yourself. Um, you're wondering if you had done something wrong. You're wondering if all the things they said to you were true. And you start to live this out through anxiety or through depression or through self-criticism. You don't let go because you're just stuck there, right? So then you want to look, you want to see, like, are they as miserable as I am? Are they going through as hard a time as I am? Because if they are, then that will let me know, you look to that as maybe a justification. Because if they're doing as badly as you are, then maybe you're not the problem, right? That's what you're hoping to see. And also probably a little revenge, right? Let's be honest. We want a little bit of revenge because we were hurt, we were abandoned, discarded, we were treated badly, we were abused or used, and we want to see that they're not benefiting, right? So, oh, it's good to see you guys hopping on here. Obi-Wan, you made it. Yeah. That's good. And Juan, good morning to you. I'm glad you're here. Well, you guys, let me see. Okay, you guys, let's hop right into this today. I mean, I want to hear about your happies and crappies too. So if you want to write about that, that's great. We'll catch up on some of that. But I do want to talk about the three. I came up with these three tools that I've used myself to get through that urge. I was like, you know what have I done? Because I have been really tempted, so tempted to check up on a couple of people who are no longer in my life. We are not in the same circles, so I don't ever hear anything about them, which thank goodness, I don't have to. But we're close enough that I could check on them. I kind of know where they are located, if you will, on social media, or even, I'm trying to think, public publications, right? That I could check on to see, what they're doing or how they're doing, possibly. But I've chosen not to. There is something in me that said, don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. And I know the truth. You guys know the truth. We've heard this over and over again. But how do we actually stop ourselves when we're at that point of very low resistance, at that point of extreme vulnerability, and we are so low and feeling so badly or depressed or lonely? How do we fight it in those moments? Okay, so that's what I want to take a look at. I kind of want to tell you, I'm trying to decide whether to tell you the stories of the people I do know, who I'm still in contact with, or kind of through, I know about through mutual friends, or if I should just jump into the 3 points. And I'm thinking, let's jump into the 3 points, and then we'll validate that with the stories, okay? I think that kind of makes more sense. Because I do want you to see that the things that we imagine is going on for the narcissist, all the great things that we think is happening for them, is not really happening. Okay, so that kind of brings in actually the first point for the cure that will prevent you or stop you from giving into the urge to look. And we want to look because we're thinking, we want evidence. We want evidence that they're not doing well. We're hoping to see this. But what will happen, you guys, is we're only going to see the good side. They're not going to be publishing, oh, they got arrested and sent to jail. I mean, there are some cases where that happens, and I've heard from some viewers that has happened, where they got arrested for beating up or assaulting their new supply, and that kind of showed the viewer, like, wow, I got out, I saved myself, or I was saved from that kind of trauma. So that is vindication, and it also verifies for her that, oh, he was as bad as she thought he was. But very few of us will actually get to see that. Very few of us. What we are most likely to see if we check up on social media is their vacation, or they just got married or engaged, or now they have a kid, or whatever they're doing. They just bought a new house, and that's just going to further hurt you, okay? Because now that verifies or validates, I guess, in a way, your image that they're just doing so wonderfully without you. And that's what I want to prevent you from going down that road. I want to tell you that what you see on social media is not the whole story, okay? It is just not the whole story. It's part of the story. We have to accept that, okay, you guys? It's okay to accept that some good things will still happen to the narcissist. Some good things will still happen for your ex. It just does, because the world works like that. There's a scripture, or I think, that says that God causes the rains to come down on both the sinners and I don't remember, the non-sinners, right? Because what that means is, good fortune will happen to both. Now, what we do with that good fortune is our choice. Okay. So when you see good fortune happening for your narcissist, or it just comes to you, maybe you weren't looking for it, maybe a mutual friend blurts out, oh, did you hear so and so got married, or so and so whatever got a promotion. um your instinct is like, it's almost like a cut to yourself. It's an insult to you, but you don't have to take it that way, because what you should see is, well, you know what, good things have happened for you as well. You have had good things happen in your life. You've had good people coming into your life. You've let go of bad people. You're learning how to be more self-confident. You're learning how to take care of yourself. I mean, good things. You may have even started working, focusing on your work and improving that. So, count that as your blessings and stop staring at their blessings. Okay. So social media just shows you part of the story. Cure number one for resisting the urge to look is you have to create a new, more accurate story or image in your head of what's going on with the narcissist. Let me say that again. You have to create a new, more accurate story or image in your head of what is going on with the narcissist. Now, how do you do that? It's going to require you to go back into the past and think about what you suffered with the narcissist. It really does. You have to go back and think about, what did they do to you throughout your relationship, or maybe at the end of your relationship. Maybe things were just fantastic up until the week they left, and the week they left, they just like completely blindsided you and took off, and suddenly they're your enemy and blocking you on everything, and you're like, what the heck just happened? We were madly in love, and then suddenly you have nothing to do with me. So even that, if your history with them, the bad history part is so short, like that part, you have to remember that was still part of your history, right? And you look at that history, you go, well, if they were capable of doing that to me after living with me for months or years and telling me how much they love me, and then suddenly just dropping me as if I didn't exist, that says something about them, okay? That tells you a little bit more about their backstory. That tells you about their character. Now, that their character doesn't drop off of them when they walk out your door, okay? It doesn't drop off of them when they walk out your door. It goes with them. That is part of their character. When they get to a certain point where they are just like, oh, I saw something shiny and something new and something across the street, or across town, that looks better to me, a better opportunity walked into my life. I can just drop somebody that I told 2 days ago that I was madly in love with, and we were going to spend the rest of our lives together and grow old together. If they can do that to you, they can do that to the new supply. They will do that to the next person, because what will stop them from doing it? That character is so, how do it's inconceivable to us. That kind of character is so neurotic that it doesn't cure itself overnight. All right, you guys, it doesn't cure itself over a period of a week or a month or whatever. And they don't even realize they have that kind of character. They just act it out, right? Okay, so going back to creating that new, more accurate story or image of the narcissist. So what tempts us to look is our mind tricks us. Our mind tricks us into thinking that things are going great with them. We're imagining all the future faking that they did with us, that they were going to get married to us, they were going to live the rest of their life with us, we were their soulmate, this and that. And we're imagining that actually playing out for the new supply, or in their new life, or their whatever life they're living now. So our brain is taking the lies and extrapolating from the lies that the narcissist told us that we did believe, right? We believed those lies, and to us they were truths, until they weren't truths anymore, right? Until they walked out the door and discarded us. So what you have to do is retrain your brain. Instead of having your brain believe the lies that the narcissist told you, the future faking lies of how they were going to do all these beautiful, amazing, incredible, exciting things with you, and then extrapolating it into the narcissist's new life, what you have to do is look at the truth, look at the actual proof and actual behaviors of the narcissist, right? When they were with you. Look at how they exploded. Look at how they were so critical. Look at how they were so gossipy. Look at how they didn't appreciate anybody. Look at how they were users, right? Look at how they were unpredictably angry or volatile. Look at how they were cheaters, okay? Now extrapolate that, because those are the truths that you have evidence of. The future faking, you don't have any evidence, right? That backs up what their words were saying. But you have actual evidence, actual actions that they took while they were with you. Extrapolate that into your true, more accurate image now of what the narcissist is really going through, is really living out. Even if you see a couple of things, and however you have seen it, it doesn't matter whether you found it yourself, you went and searched for it, or someone just told you, a mutual friend, right, that, oh, they bought that house that you guys always wanted. Even if they fulfill one or two of that future faking the lies that they told you, it's still just part of the story. It's the part of the story that, they actually wanted to get a house. Let's just say that, okay? They actually wanted to get married. So they get married to the very next person that walks into their life. They actually wanted to do these things. So they have to prove to you that they're capable of doing this, regardless of how unhealthy they are emotionally, psychologically, and even physically, right? They're just not there to be a good spouse, but they want to prove to anybody who's looking that they're capable of getting a house. They're capable of getting married. They're capable of having a child with somebody else, right? Even though they're not mature enough to do this, or they're actually, as you know, being raised by a narcissist is just a horrible thing. So if they had children with the new supply, oh my gosh, this is not a beautiful, wonderful thing. This is a horrible thing for the child. And also for the new supply, because now the new supply is even more bound to the narcissist than even you were, right? So you got off lucky if you didn't have children with them. So, hey, agriculturist, good to see you again. It's been a while. I'm so glad you're here. And prodigal daughter, good morning. I want to catch up on some of you guys here. I'm just going to come down a little bit, make sure, because I often will miss a lot of the comments. So I just want to make sure. Yeah, C. Thomas says, my ex discarded all his exes, definitely. It's character, they don't change. Right, exactly. Their character. Mike says, couldn't imagine how miserable that would be, Obi. Oh, I don't know what Obi said. Imagine living life through the eyes of a narc. Yeah, right? Imagine that instead. Don't let your brain fool you into believing the lies the narcissist told you while they were with you, right? And the lies were not followed up by action. So those were lies. All the future faking, all the promises, all the things they told you about how they feel about you, okay? Those were lies if they were not following them up with actions, okay? So you create a new, more accurate story or image. So what image should you create, right? What image should come to your mind when you think about the narcissist? So instead of thinking, oh my gosh, they're in a beautiful new house, in this loving relationship, and now they have the family they've always wanted, instead of imagining that, because that's the lie, that's the future faking they told you about. And even if you see one evidence of it, like, oh, they did buy a new house. Wow, they achieved one thing. They did get married. They did have a child. And in a normal relationship, that would be beautiful. But in a relationship with a narcissist, it's a nightmare. It's a total nightmare. Now imagine this, being tied to a narcissist through legal, for legal reasons, like having property together, right? Okay, think about that, having to, oh my gosh, separate that property once they separate from you. And oh my gosh, they want to even, if you have that much more of a bond to them, can you imagine how much more controlling they will be? That's what you should imagine. You should imagine the image of living with a narcissist, your ex, the way the supply has to live with them. Even though the image on the outside might look shiny and all that, inside, there's huge control issues. There's huge abuse. There's huge lying. There's huge future faking continually with them, even because they'll even tell the narcissist, yeah, I messed up this time. I cheated on you, but I'll never cheat again. And you know how that goes, right? You've seen it. You may have experienced that yourself with the narcissist. So you know that the supply is not living this beautiful dream of a relationship with the narcissist. They're living some of it, like I said, that partial picture, but you got to picture for yourself the true story behind the partial picture. All right, so that was number one. So a cure to stop that urge from looking. Once you realize, like, oh my gosh, I'm not going, you have to be real with yourself, okay? You have to be truthful. You are probably not going to see, and I don't know how you would, right? See what's really going on behind closed doors. All you can do, and what you should do, and actually it's pretty big, it's extrapolate from your own experience with the narcissist. So extrapolate from like how they were with you, how horrible, what lying, what cheating, how they stole from you. And if that didn't happen through your relationship, it only happened in the last week or two and they just discarded you suddenly. Now imagine that they could do the same to the new supply. Like what drives a person to do that? What kind of character could do that to another person? Take that actual fact and extrapolate it onto now they're continuing to live out that character with the new supply. That won't help you to stop thinking, well, I'm not going to be able to see it, but I know the truth inside of me. I know in my mind, I know in my heart how I was treated. I know that they took me for granted. I know that they used me. I know that they had me pay all these bills, got them out of their credit card debt, whatever it was. And they're going to do the same to the next person. So you guys, number 2 is you have to train yourself. Okay, this is another psychological thing. You have to train yourself to be disgusted or repelled by the thought of the narcissist. Yeah, that's number 2. And it's a psychological tactic, actually, right? I don't know if you've heard of this, but when people are trying to quit smoking, they have a really bad habit. They've been told you have to replace that urge, or every time you have that urge to smoke, you have to do something that's painful to you. And what I mean is they had suggested, and this is a long time ago, putting a rubber band on your wrist. And every time you feel the urge to smoke, you snap that rubber band on your wrist, like hard, right? So it stings. So every time you have that negative thought, sort of like a Pavlov dog's thing, right? Pavlov's dogs thing, where the psychologist created this the dogs to respond to something that had nothing to do with the actual thing. Okay, and the thing was, every time he fed the dogs, he would ring a bell. So the dogs would be, so then it got to the point where he would just ring the bell and the dogs would start salivating. So the bell itself has nothing to do with food. Like the food does not come out of the bell. But every time he rang the bell, the dogs would think of food and desire it and get all excited. Well, it's sort of the opposite for us, right? With the narcissist. When we think of the narcissist, we have to think about the pain. We have to think about how much how much abuse we sustained, right? We have to think about the jerk moves, that they did, that they made with us. So when we think about them, we're automatically disgusted rather than desiring them again, right? We don't want to think about them and then think about, oh, the great sex, or think about all the future faking, or think about all the times that they said, we'd grow old together and have this beautiful life. You don't want to think about that because those were lies. What you have to think about is the actual true truth. of what they had said, what they had done, how they actually behave. When you think about them, think about the times they exploded, right? And that would make you go, put you back in that shock where you're like, oh, I don't want to go back to that. You want that feeling of being repelled or disgusted, so that when you think about the narcissist, negative images come to your mind, right? And your body's reaction will be to cringe, to pull back, and to run away, really, right? Fight or flight. You want to get away from this danger. That's what you want to see. You want your body to react to what is real, what is true. And what is real and true is the narcissist is dangerous to you. They may not be physically dangerous to you, but they are psychologically dangerous to you. So you have to fight this psychological warfare that's going on inside of your mind. Your mind will play tricks on you. And that's why I came up with these 3 tactics, right? These 3 tools to help you fight that psychological war that's going on inside of your head. So again, number 2 was train yourself to be disgusted or repelled by the thought of the narcissist. And if you have to, get a rubber band, put it on your wrist. And every time you think of the narcissist, snap it, bam. You're going to be like, ow. And you will be reminded that, oh my gosh. So when you start thinking of the narcissist, you're going to think of the pain that just happened on your wrist. And even when you stop snapping it on your wrist, it'll get to the point where when you think of the narcissist, you're going to feel pain. Your body's going to react as if it just felt pain, even though it didn't feel physical pain because you're not snapping the rubber band anymore. You're going to react as if, okay, narcissist equals pain, and you're not going to want to go down that road any longer, right? Not spend another second thinking about the narcissist, because you want to get away from the pain. So you guys, that was number 2. I want to see what you guys are saying here. We're moving along so well. I'm so glad. Mike says, the funny thing is the narcs think we are so stupid when we are not. Yeah. Yep. Oh, Obi says, I discarded my narc and look out how great my life got. Yes. Hey, Don, good to see you here. I'm so glad you made it. And let me see. See, Thomas, good to see you. Yes, see, Thomas says, yes, life gets better. It does. It really does. But we still have to fight that deception, right? That our mind will take us down this road of missing them, of reminiscing, right? Of fantasizing or romanticizing what we had with the narcissist. And our mind plays these tricks on us because of our emotional insecurities. We want to blame ourselves. Did we do something wrong? Could we, are we the problem? Do we cause this, to ourselves? We have these self-doubts, even though the evidence shows you that the abuse you received, there was nothing you could have done to stop it. There was nothing. That's the Crazytown why I call this channel Escape from Crazytown, because it makes no sense. You just cannot satisfy a narcissist. The narcissist doesn't forgive. They don't accept your excuses or your reasons, right? For why, whatever, you showed up late to something, and they hold it over you for the next 2 years, how that just ruined their life. And you're like, really? My showing up late to one event ruined the rest of your life? That's a little nuts. Just stuff like that. Your mind will still play tricks on you to romanticize the good times, and you'll forget the bad times. You'll forget the actual truth, the reality that happened between you and the narcissist. So that's why we have to implement these tools. So, hey, Crystal, just noticed that you're here too. Yay, glad to see you. And let me see. Agriculture says, good to be here again. Thank you, Escape. Had a lot of work, and it's 5 p.m. when your live stream starts, so I couldn't make it. Oh, okay. But I'm glad you made it. Let me see. Crystal says, I'm curious how many he's burned already since we split. He started dating instantly. I don't look at social media, but my sons run into him with several different ones. Yeah, right? So we can stop imagining that life is beautiful for them. And by the way, I have a video, if you haven't seen it, called Stop Imagining that the narcissist's life with the new supply is perfect or beautiful, something like that. I'll go ahead and post it in the little I circle to the right here after we upload this video. I'll put it up there so you can see that video if you want to watch that next. So here we go. We are going through a few more comments. We have plenty of time, so I want to go through some of these comments here. Yeah, C. Thomas says, I think about the last 6 months of horror, and I know the new supply will go through it. See? Exactly. Exactly. So instead of imagining like they're living this perfect, happy fairy tale life, what you need to do, because that's the lie, that's just an image, that's a fake fantasy image, right? The reality is what you actually went through with the narcissist, and you have evidence of it in your own life. You experienced it, you witnessed it, you went through it, right, with the narcissist, and you took months, maybe even years to recover from it. So you know it was real. You know what they put you through. They don't just drop that character behavior at the door when they walk out your door. They take it with you. Well, I'm sorry, they take it with them. They take it to their next relationship and beyond. They don't just stop being the person they were with you. They are still that person. What's different is now you don't have to deal with that person because when they walked out the door, that character issue walked out the door with them, right? You don't have to deal with that anymore because it was not a part of you. That is the good news. Oh, such good news, right? Like, wow, I don't have to deal with lying, cheating, manipulating, crazy town arguments where there was never a resolution. I don't have to deal with, 4 or 5 hours of fighting a day. Oh my gosh, right? You can actually be free. And now suddenly your door is open, your life is open, the world is open, and you can let in all this good stuff. So let me see here. Jihad, good to see you. Says, I always wondered why I never did good financially during my marriage and never owned anything in my name. Now going through divorce, I understand that God was protecting me from her. Oh my gosh, yes, right? So can you imagine now if you know your ex now owns a house with their new supply? That is not a beautiful thing. We will imagine though, like, oh, they must really, maybe he or she really loves the new supply and that's why they're willing to be tied to them financially, right, through assets. No, that's just another level of control now that they have on the new supply. And that's a nightmare, a total nightmare. Jihad says, after she left, God opened so many doors to me. Oh, that's good. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. And Mike says, it's like living in a horror movie for sure. Yes. Oh, let me see what Crystal says here. Just started watching Dana's 52 Red Flags. Oh, yes, I love that. Amazing. When I watched it a couple years ago, I didn't think he was a narc, but discovering covert narcissism blew that doubt wide open. C. Thomas says, yes, Mike, and they'll drain you financially and emotionally, of course. Obi-Wan says, I miss my family and friends. Aw. Aw. Yeah, I'm not sure what are your family and friends not there anymore. Maybe you can reconnect with them. Mike says, wonder what really goes inside these narcs' heads when they treat people how they do. Yeah, that's the crazy town. We cannot make sense of it. I know you want to make sense of it. I want to make sense of it because we can't understand or imagine why a person would just out of the blue, or it seems to us out of the blue, behave so badly. One moment they're kissing and hugging and loving on us, and the next moment they're in this angry tirade or whatever, or they're cheating on us and telling us that we're horrible. Like what happened? Crystal says, Jihad, I totally believe they are spiritual blockers. My connection with God was certainly waning with time. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, C. Thomas says, same here. I got closer to God. Mike says, these narcopaths steal everything from us empaths. It's really depressing. They steal our friends, family, our personalities, our lives, our talents. Kind of reminds me of the body snatchers. Yeah, because we let them in, we allow them into every crevice of our life. We allow them into our vulnerabilities. And we fully trust them, right? With everything, with our whole lives, with our friends, with our family, with our all of our relationships. And they pretty much blow up everything, right? They pretty much put a bomb in every room of our house, right? If you will, emotional house. And destroy, and when we look back, it's like, wow, every room is destroyed. But the good news is you're it's psychological, okay? A lot of it is psychological. A lot of it can be recovered. A lot of it, if you had good ties with your family, you'll be able to go back. You can. There is a possibility of that. And if you can't, then maybe the relationship with that family member never was as good as you thought it was, and that's okay to let go too, because there's so many other relationships out there for you. There's so many other connections. There are even some that you let go of while you were with the narcissist because you just didn't have the time, right? They took up a lot of your time. So you can rekindle old friendships, which, by the way, I have been doing. And tonight I'm going to be doing another activity with some friends. I'm so excited about this. So bringing a couple of different worlds together is so nice. We're going out for a bike ride. I'm just so excited. So there are these different friends. One does road biking, one does mountain biking, one does electric biking. It's so cool. So it's all these different kinds of bikers, but we're going to just go out and ride around and stop at a restaurant and have some appetizers and stuff. Ah, but that's what is now open in our life, this ability to connect with good people. So that's the good news. All right, you guys, let me recap real quick. The cure for that urge to look. So if you feel like, oh, I want to look, know that that will make you backslide, because you're going to further feed the deception in your brain. You're going to further feed the deception that things are going magically, wonderfully well for the narcissist, because you're only going to see part of the story. When you look or are tempted to look into their social media or ask a mutual friend what's going on or how they're doing, they're only going to tell you or show you part of the picture. And the part of the picture they release, of course, is going to be the perfect looking one, the new house, the baby, the wife, whatever, or husband. They're not going to show you that they're miserable. They're not going to show you that the supply is miserable and ready to kick them out. They're not going to show you the bankruptcy looming over them, right? Because they just overextended themselves financially. They're not going to show you that. So you're going to be further deceived by the fake image, or partial image, if you will. It's not fake that they have a house, right? But what you don't know is they're probably in bankruptcy now, right? In bankruptcy court, or they're having the house foreclosed on them in the next year. It takes a long time, by the way, for people to get foreclosed on. So they may be in that process and you don't see that. And all you see is this extravagant lifestyle they're living. All right. So instead of looking, because it'll only damage you further, only further create this deceived picture of the narcissist. And then you're going to feel worse about yourself. You're going to feel like, oh my gosh, it must have been me. I was the problem, because why couldn't they have that life with me? And that just will make you backslide so much and wipe out a lot of the progress you had made towards your self-esteem, right? Regaining your self-esteem. So one of the cures was to create a new, more accurate story. Use what you really do know about the narcissist and extrapolate that into the next story, right? Into their next stage of life. either with the supply or whatever they're doing, who knows. But we don't even have to look. And that would be a far more accurate picture than what you would get from social media. What you extrapolate from your real interaction with the narcissist into their now life outside of your door, because they take that character flaw or whatever Crazytown character with them, they're going to continue to live out that craziness. So that's a more accurate story or image. Create that in your mind, and and let that start to satisfy your need to look. Okay, you're going to have to learn to rely and be satisfied with your own judgment of what's really going on with them. Now, the second thing was train yourself to be disgusted or repelled by the thought of the narcissist. And like Pavlov's dogs, but the opposite, you want to create something that will make you think of pain when you think of the narcissist, rather than thinking of the good times or fantasies that you created with the narcissist, or the future faking that they created with you. Instead of thinking about those things that entice and tempt, what you should do is do the same type of things when people are going through breaking addictions. They have to, there is more complicated than this, but one of the things they do physically is they create a reaction sort of like Pavlov's dogs, where I explained how a while ago smokers would put a rubber band around their wrist. And we can do this too, by the way. I don't see why this wouldn't also work with us. And every time you think of the narcissist, you snap that rubber band on your wrist, not just slightly, but painfully. I'm talking about pain, all right? To the point where when the thought of the narcissist comes to mind, you don't even have to snap that rubber band anymore, but you'll feel physical pain, right? Your body's reaction will be, ow, I don't want to go there. I don't want to think of that. I'm repelled by the thought of the narcissist because it brings me pain. Okay, that was number 2. Number 3, you guys. Number 3, the number 3 tool to help you fight that urge to look towards a narcissist and investigate or peek at their life to see how they're doing. Number 3 tool is recognize the value of your time. Life is short, you guys. Life is short. This is number 3. Realize this. Life is short. Why would you fill your life, what life you have left? Give them any more moments. Give them any more minutes or hours or weeks or days or whatever. Why would you give this narcissist any more of your life? So recognize that your life has so much more value. So what do? Well, you think about when you imagine this. Imagine you're on your deathbed. Are you going to ask yourself, oh, I wish I had looked. I wish I had followed them on social media. I wish I had, dug into who their new supply was. No, you're not. You're not going to be even thinking, imagine. So that's number 3. So imagining when you're on your deathbed, right? What do you think would be important to you? What do you think? Would it be that I wish I had filled more of my time, spent an extra week, spent an extra 2 months looking at what the narcissist was doing? No, you're going to be like, what the heck? Why? That would be a total waste, right? It's sort of like teaching yourself to have hindsight ahead of time. Think about what would be important to you when you're on your deathbed, right? And it's never, I wish I spent more time with people who made me miserable. Okay? It is never that. I wish I had given people who made me miserable more of my mental and physical and emotional, whatever, help or, time. So no, you got to remember, are they worth my time? And they're not worth your time. Realize how, it's like they're robbing you again. So tool number 3 is recognize that the value of your time is so much more than what you will get out of watching them. Imagine yourself on your deathbed and thinking, oh yeah, this would be so important to me. I wish, 15 years ago I had followed them, or 30 years ago I had crashed their wedding and watched them get married. No, you wouldn't, because what? Who cares, right? On your deathbed, you're going to be thinking about, did I spend enough time with the people who loved me? Did I spend enough time with the people I care about, that care back? Did I spend enough time cultivating the healthy relationships, right? Did I stay in touch with the people that matter to me, right? Not the people who discarded you and treated you badly, but the people who cared about you, right? You're going to think about that. Did I create the life I wanted to have? Did I do the things I wanted to do with my life, right? You got to think about that. So you guys, that is tool number 3. And I have a bonus tool for you, which is really good. But let me go through this, some of your comments. Obi says, my second girl's narc family led me to read the Bible. Wow. C. Thomas says, so true, Mike. They stole everything. It's like starting a whole new life. Yes, but the good news is you get to start a whole new life. You do. You get to start one. So don't let them rob your new life, right? Don't let them rob any more time out of your new life. That is point or tool number 3. We don't want to give them any more of our valuable time. Yeah, Crystal says it's because we believed their lies and invested more than we even had to invest in them on every level. Yeah. C. Thomas says, I think about the mental torture and no, I don't ever want to go back there. So with all the hoovering, I just remembered that and kept no contact. Exactly. That's great. And eyes wide shut. Hi, good to see you here. Says hi. Click the like button before you forget. Aw, thank you for saying that. C. Thomas says, Crystal, yes, but just because I knew him all my life, my guards were down. Never thought he was this way. Yeah, and sometimes that's what happens because we don't know the real them until they get into too deeply, right? Until they get a hold of us through marriage, or they moved in, or we're in a relationship with them, an exclusive relationship with them. When they have control over a part of us, that's when we start to see the real them. And we're the only ones to see it too. And that's the frustrating Crazytown part too, because you're going to think you're going crazy. That why does nobody else see this? Because you didn't see it either, right? You didn't see it either for years until you got close enough to see around the edges of their mask. Stephanie Bunce, good to see you, said, I thought about making a photo book with the pictures from the love bombing and the aftermath, like broken china and broken doors and my trashed house. Put it up and then look at it. Okay, I don't see the rest. When you look at it, when I want to think about letting him in. Yes, exactly. Because, you have to be reminded of the reality. You have to think about that when you think, I want to follow them. I want to look back. I want to maybe even try to get them back, right? We have to use these tools to bring us back to reality and not into this weird, crazy fantasy world where then they will be able to destroy our new life that we started up, our new, healthier image of ourselves that we started working on. They're going to destroy that if we let them back in. So be careful of that. John Bailey says, I made statements in the beginning and they were bypassed. Oh, I'm getting the Hoover at the current time. Oh, okay. Wait, that's I wide shut. Statements, I don't know what you're talking about, John. Are you saying from here? Or are you saying from your relationship? Going back, I don't see them. I don't know if I can go back far enough. Well, if you can say again, no, I'm not seeing it, John. Maybe you're talking about in your relationship with the narcissist. Oh, John says, well, I was hoovered Tuesday and Wednesday, sent a sad song and said, never forgotten. Oh, so she sent a sad song and said, never forgotten. Wow. Wow, that is crazy. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. That's weird. And it was like the second or third comment. Yeah, that hoovering is insanity. It really is. It's so destructive and it's so tempting. But I hope that you are coming in with reality, right? You're coming in with the realization that of what actually happened and transpired between you, and filling in the blanks that you don't know yourself, right? You don't know what the blanks are. You don't know where they really are right now, but you can take an educated guess, right? An educated guess is you compile what you do know. You compile the experiences, the actual interactions you've had with them, the abuse you suffered, right? The reality of what happened between you and them, what you witnessed. That's you compile that. And then you take an educated guess of what they did, because they did not stop behaving that way just because they walked out your door. They're behaving that way with the new person. And John, I remember in your case, she's with somebody, right? She's with somebody and she's hoovering you. So that tells you that the new supply that she is still living with and using, apparently, right? Because why doesn't she leave him and stand on her own before she tries coming back into your life? Because she's trying to set up an escape from the new supply without the new supply, of course, even knowing it. So you guys, that's the reality. That's the educated guess we can take. Do we know for sure this is what's happening? I think we can pretty much guess. Excuse me, I have a bit of cough. We can pretty much guess that this is what's happening because we know what she's like. We know what she's done. So, and the fact that she's with somebody right now while she's hoovering you, does that tell you she hasn't changed? Yes, it does. Holographic, good to see you. Says, hello, my lovelies. C. Thomas says, Crystal, oh my gosh, that's so similar to my ex. Said he is scarred and possible, wait, oh, said he was scarred and possible possessed, and of course had criminal behavior. Says he did that to an ex and all kinds of stuff in his past. Scary. Yeah. Oh my goodness, you guys. Crystal says, so were you, eyes wide shut, so were you closely being watched then? Thank goodness I never joined Facebook or Instagram. Obi says, mine did the same thing, but I don't fear death ever since I died in a tragic accident. I guess I don't follow that. But C. Thomas says, I think the connection is because he's my daughter's father. So I fell for it all. Yes. Yeah, you know what? Like I said, that connection is worse. It's worse if you had a financial connection to them, a legal connection to them, family connection to them by having children with them, of course, right? Yeah, it's worse. So don't imagine that it's better for the new supply if they've reached these higher, or if you will, deeper levels of connection. They are deeper levels of connection, but they're also deeper levels of control, right? So that's the way things are in a relationship with a narcissist. It's not more beautiful, it's not more incredible, it's not more how would it's not the kind of relationship you would want. It's not a dream relationship with them. The more connection you have with them, the more control they have over you, the more of a nightmare it is. So if you see the new narcissist, or know that the new narcissist, or I'm sorry, not the new narcissist, the new supply has a deeper control, deeper connection, right, with the narcissist because of financial connections or whatever, know that they're in a deeper nightmare. It's not a deeper fantasy or dream world or just a beautiful life. It's a deeper nightmare. Because to get out of that is going to cause so much pain. Let me see. I'm missing some comments here. Let me see if I can go back. Mike says the narcs are nothing but cowards who talk tough but act like beaches is you stand up to them. She had to send her gang of flying monkeys on me. Oh, the flying monkeys. I have a video on flying monkeys too, and that's also Crazytown. Absolute Crazytown. Crystal Jean says, extremely scary. My mom is afraid for my safety, but I choose not to live in fear. He's a homicide detective as well. Oh, yikes. Yeah, that's the sad thing because narcissists come in um, every kind of job. There's psychologists out there that are narcissists. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm not friend. I know somebody who's going through a divorce with their psychologist partner, spouse, and the spouse is behaving like a total narcissist, blaming them for everything, the projection. They're blaming the person for everything that the psychologist actually is the one doing. It's just insane. Yeah. So they can be of any profession, and that is kind of scary, right? You would think, no, these people should be safe. These people should be okay. But and I know that what really opens our eyes or helps us to see what a person is not their career. It's how they behave. It's their actual actions. So you guys, I am going to go through. Oh, yeah, I wanted to point this out too. Eyes Wide Shut said, homicide detective with grandiose thinking equals a Drew Peterson guy. Thinks he can commit the perfect crime. My ex-narc says she killed someone and no one will ever connect her to it. Well, hopefully they will keep bragging about that until they do get caught up in their own bragging. It's so insane, right? They do. They just destroy their own lives. And that's why it is so much better that you are no longer connected to them. So why, right? Why would you want to look into their life, see how they're doing, see how life is with a new supply for them, right? Don't. It's like throwing yourself back into a trap, back into this death trap, which you miraculously escaped, right? Whether by them discarding you or by you finally leaving because you just couldn't take it anymore. Oh my gosh, Eyes Wide Shut said my ex loved Dexter. Obi-Wan says, my deathbed, I'll be mad at myself for wasting so much time on a narc. Yes, exactly. Stephanie says, mine was one. The NPD was not diagnosed by his doctors, but he has psychological diagnosis. My therapist DX'd his and I know what you're saying. Diagnosed his NPD. Yeah. Crystal says, Mike, he's capable of murder. I know that, but I've made my fears clear to enough people. If he does anything to me, too many people will know who did it, and I believe he knows that. Yeah, that is a really good way of protecting yourself. Well, you guys, I am not quite caught up on all of your comments, but I appreciate it. Charlotte, good to see you. It says, I managed to move away and am happy now. Still realizing just how evil he was. Away from him, and I've had no issues and made new friends who are very lovely. That is exactly what I hope for all of you guys, because our life is so much better without them. And we do get to start a new life. We do get to rebuild and reconnect or move on. It's so amazing the life we can have once we let go of that narcissist. And part of letting go is not looking back, not looking at where they are now, not imagining how beautiful life must be now for them, because that is just an imagination. It's a fantasy. Don't create this crazy, beautiful fantasy based on lies, right? Based on lies they told you, based on your mind is going to trick you. And part of that, by the way, you guys, comes from our automatic negative thoughts. I don't know if you know about this, but automatic negative thoughts are thoughts that come into our mind because I think a lot of people, if not everybody, suffers from this. And if they say they never have suffered from this, I don't know. I think they're lying. But there's some point in your life where you think, oh, I can't do that. When you want something and you say, I'll never have that. Or you want to do something and your thought is, I can't do that. I don't know. I'll never learn. Those negative thoughts that tear you down. We tend to all have that. Maybe not narcissists, I don't know. But normal people tend to have those not negative thoughts. And part of those negative thoughts also make us imagine that life is more beautiful now for the narcissist, because that's part of the negativity we put on ourselves. Oh, I'll never have that kind of a beautiful life. But look at them, they're having this beautiful life. That's not true. And we have to get rid of those negative thoughts. Those negative thoughts are not real. They're not helpful, right? And they're there to deceive you into not living your full life. Okay, you guys. John says, okay, I guess you're not going to answer the questions. Oh, I don't know what other questions you had. I tried. Oh, Ice White Shirt said, I tried to kill myself just a few months into our relationship because of the murder she told me about. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I don't know what to do with that information. Wait a minute. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I didn't know what to do with that information. You know what? You could share that with the people around you that you do trust. But as far as the police, I don't know that you can say anything because there's no proof of anything, right? And you definitely don't want to be involved anymore with her. So sadly enough, if you help to widen that trail or leave a big trail, she apparently told you something, and just you know what, if she wants to have that reputation, then spread that reputation, and maybe that reputation will catch up with her when there is an investigation, when there is something that could possibly tie her to what she said she did. Okay, I'm trying to see, John, if you at the beginning of the stream. Yeah, I did. Okay, so I'm just a bit behind from you saw from your comments here. So I hope I did answer your question. And yeah, and I know you have to resist that hoovering, just like you have to resist looking back. Resist checking up on them. You have to resist that because you know the truth, you know the reality, you know what they have already done in your life. And well, I addressed that already, but you know that she's with somebody right now and putting them through this. So why would you want to put yourself into that supplies life, right? Would you really want to exchange your life for that new supplies life where she's with you and contacting somebody else, trying to set up an escape from you without you knowing, and then suddenly discarding you? Yeah, that's what she's doing with this new supply. And you do not want to be back into that cycle, that crazy town cycle. Charlotte says, Mike, did someone try and kill you, or was it just the gossip? Oh, I don't know. Oh, wow. Mike says, Crystal, that describes the narcs in our lives. They really are the creeps. Mike says, mostly gossip and a whole lot of death threats. Wow. What? Guys, I am a little bit behind here. Oh, Mike says, notice she would make stuff up out of nowhere. Oh, I don't even know this song. Crystal says, you know what's hilarious? The song Creep by Radiohead was our song. LOL. I couldn't know how true those words were. Wow, I'm going to have to look at that. Oh, here we go. Mike says, through being involved with law enforcement and lying about me, telling people I was what she was, a pedo. Oh my gosh, total character assassination and slander. I don't know if you guys have seen this, and I can look for it, but it is a story so absolutely nuts. It was in Australia, and it was probably a 60 Minutes Australia thing, where this guy marries this woman, and she seems to be like such a sweet young woman. He just fell in love with her. She looked like the girl next door. She was so sweet. And she started working at a police station as, I don't know, a receptionist or something. And then she started spreading news about, or lies about her husband. Sorry, excuse me. I had to get some water. Assaulting her. Well, her police colleagues believed her. And then I mean, this guy ended up going to jail for, I think it was 2 years, before his family spent all of their life savings trying to get him out. And a new detective was assigned to look at his case, to see, to look at his appeal, I guess. And this new detective was a woman who, at first sight, thought, at the case, thought that he was lying, and she was telling the truth. But the more she started interviewing the woman, she started having questions like, this isn't quite consistent what this woman's saying. And she got this kind of just feeling, right? This sixth sense that the woman was hiding something or wasn't quite telling the full truth. So she investigated further and further, and she found evidence that the guy did not assault her. And that evidence was like a picture that was taken with a timestamp. He was with his sister's daughter, so he's hanging out with his sister and holding his niece in his lap or whatever. They were sitting on stairs together, and the timestamp was the day and time that his wife said that one of the times he assaulted her. She accused him of assaulting her. And so the detective was like, well, he couldn't have been assaulting you because he was across town at his sister's house in this picture. So she started investigating more and more, and come to find out, this girl has a history. Back when she was a teenager in high school, she had a best friend. She would sleep over at her best friend's house, and then she started lying about her best friend's father assaulting her. And the whole town, I mean, they were infuriated at the guy, and they exiled pretty much, the family. And her best friend was like, what, why? And her best friend believed her at first, and then the father had to tell his daughter, I didn't do this, and nobody believed him. The daughter said she kind of believed him, and she wanted to believe him. Anyway, this girl ruined her best friend's life, her best friend's father's life. He ended up not going to jail, thank goodness, because they couldn't press charges. There was no evidence of anything. And but for, I think at that point it had been 10 years, he had been living under the shadow of people's gossiping that he assaulted this teenage girl, right? And when this came to light, it exonerated him as well. But you know how people are. Some people probably saw the story, some people didn't. So he probably still is, under that cloud of being accused. So she apparently did this to other people. I mean, it made no sense how much they will destroy you. Well, you guys, let's talk about bonus number 4. Um, of these 3 things, the cure for the urge to look, right? We talked about the 3 things. You create a new, more accurate story or image in your head. Not the image of this perfect life. That's not true. But your mind wants to play tricks on you. Those negative thoughts, those automatic negative thoughts in your head want you to believe that they're doing so much better and you're not. That's not accurate, nor is it true. So what you do is you take from reality what happened with you and the narcissist, and you extrapolate from that to create a more accurate story or image in your head. Number 2 was you train yourself to be disgusted or repelled by the thought of the narcissist. Yeah. So, why would you want to go back to somebody who caused you pain? So do something like the addicts do, right, to get over their addiction. So when they think of what they're addicted to, pain comes to them, and they're repelled by it. They're disgusted by whatever it is, right? If it's drugs, alcohol, smoking, and in this case, the narcissist. Number 3 is recognize the value of your time. When you're on your deathbed, what are you going to say? Or what are you going to think? Are you going to think, oh, I wish I had spent more time stalking the narcissist. I wish I had spent more time looking at their social media. I wish I had, crashed their wedding and witnessed that. I wish, all these things that would have just tormented you. No, on your deathbed, you're not going to wish these things. You're going to wish that you had spent less time obsessing, right? Less time under the control of the narcissist. That was number 3. But your bonus number 4 is using positive reinforcement. And what I mean by that is every time you think about wanting to look at the narcissist or their social media, reward yourself for not looking. Yeah. Every time you are successful by not looking, you resisted, you didn't look, you didn't do it, reward yourself for not looking. Take yourself out to a happy hour, go dancing. There's so many things you can do. You can join a swing dance group, a ballroom dance group, country line group, dance group. There's so many. It seems like in every town they have these groups. I've run into them by accident, right? When they're out in public. I ran into one once at the Union Station, train station in our town. And there was a swing club group. It was so awesome to watch them, old and young. I mean, there were people in their 20s and people in their 70s. It was just so sweet to see all these different people, and they weren't all couples. There were a lot of singles, but they intermixed. I saw some old people dancing with the young people, and I saw of course young couples together and old couples together. It was just awesome. And I thought, you know what, if I wasn't doing other things right now, I would probably join something like that. So reward yourself when you don't look at the narcissist's social media. Go do something fun for yourself. Go out and get yourself your favorite dessert, an ice cream or a pastry at your favorite pastry place. Go set up a coffee date with a friend, right? Go do that. Or go out to a cafe and watch people. That's, that's one of my favorite pastimes too. It's kind of like just sitting and reading a book in a coffee shop and kind of watching people's interactions. It's kind of neat. You're around activity, you're around conversation. It's good. So do these things. Go for a bike ride. Oh, one of my new things, right? Or go on a picnic. Take yourself out on a picnic, or bring your dog with you and have a picnic with your dog. Throw a frisbee around. Go for a walk. Go explore a new park, or a park you haven't explored before. Get a puppy, right? Take a weekend getaway or go camping. Groupon has all kinds of deals with hotels near you. Maybe go spend a day being a tourist in your own town. So do things for yourself when you are successful, when you resist that urge to look. So this is a positive reinforcement for doing, for resisting. And what that does and why it's a bonus to you and how it can change your life is the more you reward yourself with these good things, the more these good things will lift you into a good life. You want to start creating a habit of doing good things for yourself. You want to start creating a habit where instead of turning towards something negative that can hurt you, like following the narcissist, checking up on them, seeing, if you can find out stuff about the new supply, that will only further damage you. So instead of doing that, you start in another route. You turn the other direction and you go, you know what? I'm going to reward myself. I'm going to take myself out. I'm going to treat myself out. I treat myself to a really nice dinner with a friend. I'm going to go see a movie that I've been wanting to see, I'm going to set up a picnic. I'm going to take my dog out, or I'm going to, get yourself a puppy or a kitten, get myself a new pet. Do something for yourself. And as you create that habit that reinforces good, good things or a good outcome, which is you're not looking, you're not tempted anymore to look. This is going to build your new life. It's like, you use it as a tool to not look because you're filling your time with yourself, right? You're filling your own imagination. Instead of running off with your imagination, you're filling it with activity, right? You're actually doing positive things for yourself. When you do these things, you're going to build, you're going to create, you're going to construct positive things in your life. And it is absolutely life-changing. Life-changing. So you guys, that is my lesson for today. And I hope that has helped you. And if it has, please subscribe and like the video and make comments. I really love to hear your comments because A lot of times what you're concerned about gives me the ideas of what I should talk about. So it's really great. I'm going to go through a few more of your comments here. Charlotte had said, glad I'm away from them. Easy to spot a narc now based on how they act and what they say. Charlotte says, Mike, did you call the police and report the guns? Because the police will come out in a few minutes if a gun is reported. Wow, I didn't know about the gun. That's nothing to joke about. Death threats are serious. Yeah. C. Thomas says, Crystal, same here. 20 years later, he came back, and that's where I was discarded after 2.5 years, and I never experienced such treatment. Wow. Nobi says, I meant I died, and doctors brought me back to life. Oh, okay. And I'd rather deal with that again than deal with my narc. Wow. That's crazy. But it's true, right? The narcissist does more than death. They just damage you for such a long time. So why, right? John, I hope that you're seeing this. Why would you want to let them back in? All these stories, I hope, are reinforcing would help you to not have or not be tempted to go back to the narcissist. Mike says, I did call the cops on them, Charlotte, but they changed everything around. The cops were believing their lies. My ex always calls cops on people after she plays. Oh my gosh. FBI tactics on everyone in the neighborhood. Wow. Yep, lots of drama. All narcs do is rehash drama and never let go or be positive. You guys, it's the stories I hear again and again are so consistent. And we're not going to get a beautiful life. The new supply is not going to get a beautiful life with the narcissist, that is. We're not going to be able to recuperate a beautiful life with the narcissist. It is a nightmare. It is a continual nightmare that we re-enter. You don't, so you have to resist that. Resist re-entering that nightmare. And part of re-entering it is going back, is looking back, is investigating where they are. But yeah, you have to resist that. Crystal says, how old is your daughter? I have 2 sons with my ex-narc. I took him back after he had an affair with a fellow cop and left me and a newborn baby and toddler. He got bored of her and came crawling. Yes, right? This is what we know of them. This is how they are. And they just don't change. Their character doesn't change. Katfina, good to see you, says, mine, when I got a restraining order, retaliated and did the same, then would file false police reports to have me arrested once. And they can do that. They will do that. I've heard stories like this from others as well. And if this hasn't happened to you, then count yourself lucky. If you were able to get away without legal ramifications, count yourself lucky. Don't reopen that door. Don't go back into the nightmare. Mike says, would have reported the gun problems, but she probably actually would have killed me then. She's an angry hunter. Yikes. So crazy. So the best thing you can do is back away and stay away. So you guys, I'm so glad that you came in. I'm so glad that you joined in today's discussion. I so appreciate you coming in here. I don't know, let me see if I should read more comments because we're coming up on our time. Eyes Wide Shut says, I feel like I made it out of the other side of crazy maze of drama, chaos, confusion. 9 years of being led around by her in a crazy maze. Isn't it? Absolutely. And it is. Oh my gosh, I know somebody right now who's going through a divorce, but is still missing their partner, missing the narcissistic ex. And part of that is the loneliness, right? Part of that is you feel lonely and you just want the familiarity, the comfort, right? You even felt comfort, even though it was terrible. You felt comforted because they were there. We have to resist that because that's a lie. That's why number 2 in that cure to urge, or for the urge to look back, you have to replace. Number 2 says you have to replace that with a sense of disgust. you don't want to keep longing for the narcissist and imagining or romanticizing the good times, right? You have to you have to replace those feelings with disgust or being repelled. And a lot of times it has you have to be reinforcing pain, physical pain, when you think about the narcissist, so that you create a Pavlov's dog kind of reaction to them, where when you think of them, you're like, ah, your body tenses up and you don't go, oh, I wish I was, it should be, ah, no, run. That should be your reaction when you think about the narcissist. And all these stories, I hope, reinforce for you guys that you did the right thing, that you escaped, that you have now a way better chance of a beautiful life and a great life because you're away from the narcissist. And if you have it in you, feel sorry for this new supply. Really, feel sorry for them, because they are in much deeper than you will be if they are now married to them, if they have because they're at the beginning of the relationship, right? They're at the beginning of their Crazytown story, and they have no idea how it's going to play out, and they're wasting their life. You know that every year they spend with a narcissist is a waste of life. So it's so sad for them, good for you, but sad for them that they are at the beginning stages, just at the beginning of the wasteful, part of their life, and they're going to have to recuperate from that. And as you know, narcissists, they just get worse. They get worse with time. So be glad that you're out of there. Oh, Crystal says it was the other cop that he had the affair with that he offered to kill for me. I was emotional and said, how do I know you won't leave me for her again? So offered to kill her for me. Oh my gosh, right? Oh my gosh, that's creepy as heck, Crystal. So creepy. You guys, I hope you understand that when somebody says something like that, that is not normal. That is not a proof of love. That's proof of psychopathy, all right? And you don't want to be with a psychopath. That's crazy. See, Thomas says, Crystal, she's older now, 21. He left me before she was born. I was young. Oh, it must be her daughter. He went with someone else. Then 20 years later, he came back, then got discarded. It's awful, but realized now it was for my help. Oh, he came back because he needed your help. Yeah. John, I hope you're hearing this, that your ex is hoovering you because she wants your help. She will come back into your life and do to you what these other viewers are saying. C. Thomas is saying, what Crystal is saying. They will come back into your life because they've hit a bottom, right? And they want you to help them back up on their feet. And once you help them back on their feet, or at least give them a place for them to lick their wounds, then they will leave you. Once a new shiny object comes into their life, they're going to leave you again. Mike says, I listen to metal rock music to help manage my anger after being around narcs. C. Thomas says, probably thought I had a lot of money and can buy him everything. Obi-Wan says, I think my narc had something to do with my grandma's death. Oh, that's horrible. Charlotte says, I like to drive around at night. Maybe I should become a taxi driver. Yeah, an Uber driver, right? Lyft driver. Mike also says, also read the Old and New Testaments a lot too, and it helped. Oh, that's great. It really helps me. If you guys, even if you don't believe in Christianity, I love Proverbs. If you will read Proverbs, it is mind-blowing wisdom. It really is. And I think you can even buy the book of Proverbs separate from the rest of the Bible. But the book of Proverbs is a collection of a lot of wise things. Now, recognize though that it goes against your instincts sometimes, because it's about loving people who don't love you back, who are mean to you. But also it talks about not engaging with fools, right? You'd be wise not to engage with fools, not to even discipline a fool, because when you discipline a fool, they're going to attack you. But when you discipline a wise person, they will take the discipline and learn from it and better their lives. So that's part of Proverbs too. I thought, yeah, that's so true. And that's one of the signs too, like a safe person is when you're able to tell them something that might sound critical, but they take it to heart and they make the change, right? A wise person will do that. A fool, though, or a narcissist will take that and take great offense to it, not change, and then destroy the relationship. It's just awful. But the book of Proverbs is awesome. Crystal says, see, wow, they say they always come back. That's cray cray. I'm sorry you were so hurt by him. Yeah. And that's what will happen. C. Thomas says, we get a second chance to live a great life after the narc. Eyes Wide Shut says, I'm so glad I found these YouTube videos and things make sense finally. I feel so much better. Yay! Yes. And Charlotte says, Eyes Wide Shut, good on you. I did the same. Imagine keeping their plans to hurt innocent people to yourself. I would never enable a psycho to hurt someone else by keeping quiet to the only people who can help. Think of all the cold cases. We all know a narc must have done them all. Oh my gosh, those cold cases are horrible. I feel so bad for those people. Well, you guys, I've given you a few moments to wrap up and say goodbye. I'm so glad that you joined me today. I'm sorry that I'm not getting your last few comments. Oh, I guess a lot of comments here. But I hope this has been helpful. And I'll post a few or connect a few of my videos in that little icon in the right corner of the screen. It'll come up after I upload this. I have to add it. But videos that you might be interested in, that we kind of touched on some of those topics today, like imagining life is beautiful for the narcissist and his new supply. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. But I hope that you guys will have a great week. Think about your beautiful life. Think about ways to reward yourself. Think about if you have something you've always wanted to try, do it. You know, what's stopping you? Go and do it. Break away from those automatic negative thoughts that says you don't have the time or you can't do this or whatever. You know, the heck with that. Do it. Go and enjoy and create a beautiful life and create, new habits that are going to just change your life forever. So blessings to you guys, and I will talk to you next week.